Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new week. Welcome to a great football weekend to come. This is Darnell, the Playmaker Silence. You know me already. It is what it is. You know my co-host Dallas Glenn. How you doing, sir?
Well, doing better now. All things considered, I had some time to get over certain things.
Yeah, because part of the weekend was not fun for you. I don't know about the other day, but yeah, that particular day was not fun for you. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we're gonna talk NFL. This is the NFL podcast, and we're gonna recap Wildcard Weekend, and we're gonna look forward to the Divisional Weekend. So we got that to look forward to. But we're gonna get started real quick, and we gotta go to a topic that Dallas love, which is coaching. A
Yeah.
lot. You got some coaching news, Dallas. Where do we start at?
Oh well, if you've been paying attention to the feed throughout the week, I've been retweeting like mad so I can keep track of everything. So obviously, Mike McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys, that was made official today. He had his press conference. I want to say around 3 Central, and he answered a couple of questions and all that good stuff. Matt Rule, Coach Rule, a perfect coach name, he had his official press conference in Carolina Panthers head coach. Ron Rivera, he already had his, but Ron Rivera is starting to get a lot of coordinators in place. Name escapes me, but he had an offensive coordinator that's a notable hire. He comes from a very strong coaching tree, and Kellen Moore is going to be the offensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. Joe Judge, the deal is in place, but he hasn't signed it yet. Nothing crazy is going to happen. Everything is hammered out. News is coming out that he's probably going to sign it tomorrow. And as of this recording, the Cleveland Browns have not had any new interviews, nor have they made a decision. So the Cleveland Browns, as of right now, are the only vacant job. However, I would say watch out for the Minnesota gig, because Minnesota has released a statement not too long ago saying that they would like to keep both Mike Zimmer and their offensive coordinator. So a big name is probably going to get back on the market, which is why Cleveland's sliding their feet, but you don't know. So Minnesota's another place to watch out for.
And on a different note, not so. At first, I ain't felt. I guess after a couple of days of letting it is what it is. Wade Phillips is no longer part of the LA Rams.
Wow, so that's what hurt you. Not the first round bye, not Seattle winning, but Wade Phillips, that's what's hurt you after this weekend.
You know,
I mean, probably
Wade Phillips did a good job with the defense. I don't like the three. I'm not a 3-4 type of guy, but I must admit, Wade Phillips did a good job with that defense.
I feel like Wade Phillips putting Aaron Donald in a 3-4 is one of the reasons why, even though it was the most respectful way possible, he had to be let go. You can't have Aaron, even if he did have the 20 plus sack season in, I want to say 2017. It's just, imagine what it would be like if Aaron Donald didn't have to get double teamed every play by scheme. It's one thing if everybody is game planning for Aaron Donald. The 3-4 requires the 3 down linemen to eat up blocks for the linebackers, which, by the way, was the weakest part of the Los Angeles Rams defensive unit. So, it'll get better.
So, all right. So you got all your coaching news out the way. Yeah, everything that you need. We're gonna shift gears real quick before. Let's get it right. Wild card weekend, they changed it up on us. They did the AFC on one day, the NFC on the other day. We're gonna start with the NFC first. So let's recap. The Minnesota Vikings went down to New Orleans and beat the New Orleans Saints and ousted Drew Brees in overtime 26-20. And then in the other one, you had the Seattle Seahawks did what we thought they would do when they would win the game. Carson Wentz did get injured. Seattle wins 17-9, and they are on to the divisional round. Dallas, where you want to start at?
Say what you will about how it happened. It's not irrelevant, but the point still stands. Carson Wentz hasn't lasted an entire playoff game now. And this was his first time getting through all 16 games in the season. And it's crazy because Carson Wentz is starting to become a tragic story. Carson Wentz went 9-7 with this team When you draft a quarterback second overall and pay him $140 million, you draft him second overall and pay him $140 million so he can do exactly what Carson Wentz did this season, and then he gets hurt the first quarter of the playoff game. It's tricky. Dirty hit by Clowney. You're supposed to not be able to control that, quote unquote. But I mean, let's be honest, Darnell. Quarterbacks have been taking hard hits since forever now. Just because there's legislation in the game that makes a play dirty doesn't mean that no quarterback's ever been hit the same way before. I'm worried if I'm an Eagles fan going forward because now you're talking about concussion protocol. Now you're talking about a history of concussion along with a history of joint, muscle, neck injuries. It's going to be a tricky thing moving forward in Philadelphia because they got a lot of holes. A lot of holes that even trading for draft capital won't fix in 1 year.
They called it a dirty hit. He was a runner.
He dove forward. And that's why I'm saying it's not irrelevant, Darnell, but I'm sorry. Running backs take that hit 3 times every 4 downs. I'm sorry. I can't. Just because he's a quarterback was number 11.
Look at that. Let's look at the Eagles secondary. Because a rookie went off on them in the playoff game. A rookie by the name of DK Metcalf.
You know, Orlando Scandrick is kind of salty, and it's understandable why he's salty. And as a hater myself, I thought that Orlando Scandrick was perfectly within the realms. I mean, he's a Cowboy for life. That was your first problem, Eagles fans, signing him. But he's a Cowboy for life, and the Eagles just lost after knocking his team out the playoffs, basically. Of course, Orlando Scandrick is supposed to feel the way that he feels. However, instead of being mad at an Orlando Scandrick, instead of being mad at a Jadeveon Clowney, let's talk about how Malcolm Jenkins is still wearing a captain patch. But the back end of the Philadelphia Eagles secondary is a liability. How is your defensive captain on the back end, but your back end is the worst part of the unit? A rookie. And that's overshadowing what Tyler Lockett did, because Tyler Lockett had a solid day too. If Tyler Lockett has that day and DK Metcalf kind of struggles.
What he had, 160 yards and a touchdown? Look, y'all can say what y'all want, but DK Metcalf, first ever playoff, he showed out. So, yeah, let that be known. Real quick, what are we going to say about the Vikings and Kirk Cousins getting this win down in New Orleans? What can be said?
Surprisingly, 28 carries, less than 100 yards. If you would have told a lot of people that the New Orleans Saints were going to be able to hold Dalvin Cook under 100 yards, they probably would have said that they would have won, even with the 2 touchdowns. But alas, offensive pass interferences and whatnot, the Saints are eliminated.
I mean, let me look at this box score, man, because I don't think Michael Thomas went off. I don't even think Alvin Kamara went off. Drew Brees didn't go off.
And this is the thing while you're looking at the box score, give you some filler time. This is the thing when you have regular season records. This is the thing when you're on pace to achieve something nobody's ever done before. I am pretty sure the season Marvin Harrison set the single season receptions record, he did not win a Super Bowl. The season that Randy Moss set the single season receiving touchdown record, he actually did not win the Super Bowl. There's a reason why Tony Dungy, 14-0 seasons, 13-0 seasons, looked at weeks 16 and 17 and shut it down. Now, he wasn't right until 2006, but he had the right ethos at heart because, yeah, Michael Thomas has this receiving record in the regular season. And, yeah, the regular season is what gets you into the Hall of Fame. But first round, Darnell, the Vikings, Kirk Cousins, Kinfolk Cousins, oh, God.
You ready for this, man?
Yeah.
What was Dalvin Cook's stats again?
28 for 94 and 2 touchdowns.
Okay. The entire Saints version attack. 17 carries, 97 yards, 1 touchdown.
That is amazing. That includes the running back who's looking for an extension this offseason, by the way.
That's the total rushing for the Saints. And Dalvin Cook's number was lower again.
28, 94, 2.
Let's see. Kirk Cousins, 19 for 31, 242 and a touchdown. Quarterback rating of 78.1. Drew Brees, 26 for 33, 208, a touchdown and a pickup. Quarterback rating of 51.8. Taysom Hill had the best one. 1 for 1, 50 yards.
Deep bomb, deep play. I mean, here's the crazy thing about New Orleans. Here's the crazy thing, because at the end of the day, they lost. You can say what you want about the OPI. I mean, it is what it is. We only have it so long. All three quarterbacks are due. All. Taysom,
that includes Teddy Bridgewater.
They're all free agents. And if you're the New Orleans Saints, you have to think to yourself, hey, if you're Drew Brees, do you really take a discount? If you're Drew Brees and you see that for the past 3 years, you've had this roster. For the past 3 years, you've had this talent. You've had Pro Bowlers on the offensive line. You've had Pro Bowlers at running back. Hall of Fame caliber talent at wide receiver. Very serviceable tight end. You got Cam Jordan. Like Darnell, they've had pieces for the past 3 years. If you're Drew Brees, do you really take a discount in the name of salary cap and pieces around you? Are you really coming back after your 40s, putting your family through the hard days at training camp and the injuries? Are you risking injury at 40 for a discount? And if you're the Saints, how do you let Teddy Bridgewater go in the name of another couple seasons with Drew Brees? This is the same Teddy Bridgewater that went to the playoffs as the franchise quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings. This is a franchise quarterback that you had for cheap, actually, all things considered, for the past 2 years.
I'm going to throw a question out here. Guys already know the answer to this. I'm going to see how many other people know it. Alan Thielen and Michael Thomas had the same amount of receptions. Who did better? Alan Thielen, 7 catches, 129 yards. That bad man that nobody can guard named Michael Thomas, 7 catches for 70 yards.
It's weird because it confuses me because a safety is the one who got the interception, not a corner. Usually when safeties get interceptions, they're either taking advantage of a bad throw or they're taking advantage of the very good play of their cornerback. So they call it safety help. And that's why safeties usually aren't considered the best DBs in football, because they have corners that make them look very good. But, dude, like a safety gets to pick, and Michael Thomas only has 7 for 70. But that doesn't mean that every catch went for only 10 yards, but it's an average of 10 yards. So if you didn't see the game, or if you were listening to it on the radio, then just imagine that every catch Michael Thomas got did go for first down yardage, but he never had the deep bomb. 7 catches for 129 yards. Some of those were deep bombs. Good save.
Marshawn Lattimore got injured on the play before. Here come the replacement, and Alan Thielen took him deep.
It's, again, the biggest question, because all this does not matter. All this does not matter if Teddy Bridgewater doesn't have that 5-game winning streak. All this does not matter if Drew Brees doesn't come back and is still Drew Brees. None of this matters, unfortunately, without that quarterback room. I'm sorry. Taysom Hill. Even Taysom Hill and the things he's been able to do as the third quarterback, as a safety valve, as a cheat code, as an asterisk on the depth chart, the quarterback room is the most valuable room on that team. And Darnell is completely empty right now. The New Orleans Saints have a huge decision to make this offseason. And this offseason is not about, believe it or not, because of the news that came out today, it's not about that one guy all the way up there. You know, it's probably going to be about the New Orleans quarterback room for a while since that other news came out.
So we're going to leave it right here because we're going to get to the other quarterback after this commercial break. So we're going to take a commercial break and we'll be right back. All right, now we are back from this commercial break, and it's time to get with Dallas, and because we finna talk the AFC wild card.
You see, this
is the portion where Dallas has to.
You see, this is the odd thing that I try to I don't understand about out of market fans, because you really like to dig. You've been digging. You dug all week, and I'm just trying to figure out how the hell a division rival has the number 1 overall seed in the first round bye, and another division rival, like, bro, I'm trying to figure out the math here, because there is opportunity for there to be an NFC West, NFC Championship game, and you're not in it, and you just dig at me so much. Why is this?
Because you want to put it on Twitter.
But you're supposed to be this hardcore Rams fan.
I'm a Rams fan, and we had our shot, and we didn't show up.
For you to be able to grieve so easily, it's odd, especially as close as you.
I picked Seattle to beat Philly.
No. See, and you do this, and the people that are listening know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm not going to waste any more of this precious hour. Just go do what you were going to do.
You don't want that been mad. It is what it is with me. Yeah, we had our shot. We failed. So
you say this but you're so how? I don't understand. Somebody please tweet me and help me understand.
You want to go with the division champs, or you want to go with the wildcard team first?
Talk about how Josh Allen choked. Talk about how Sean McDermott kept throwing the ball instead of just running the clock out. Talk about that one first.
So Buffalo went into Houston, started out 16-0. DeShaun Watson struggled. J.J. Watt, the reason why it was 16-0 because J.J. Watt had a critical sack on the third down play, first Buffalo to kick, before the offense of Houston started getting together. And let me get you the halftime score, because the second half was a totally different story. Now, Dallas is going to disagree with me when I come up with my point. But I said that DeShaun Watson will find a way to win the game, which he did. But on the other side, Josh Allen, some people call him Jameis Winston. Dallas, you got another word for it? Or anybody got another word for it?
That boy is Blake Bortles Buffalo. That man is a budget Mitch Trubisky, because he was drafted 7th. That boy is Mitch Trubisky with the discount of the ages. He's gonna get better, because Blake Bortles didn't make the postseason until his 4th season. He was carried by a historic 1-year defense. Mitch Trubisky, literally the same thing. It was the monsters of the midway of the 2018. Buffalo had a good defense, but Darnell, even though Trey White tied for the league lead in interceptions, it wasn't like Jacksonville. It wasn't like how Khalil Mack, one player, had such an influence. That is a solid team defense. Leslie Frazier is a solid team coordinator. I imagine Josh Allen.
You know what? I'm glad you brought him up, because when you say a corner like Tre'Davious White led the league in interceptions, that means usually you would think not a lot of teams that went at him unless they had no choice, and when they went at him, it backfired.
Yeah.
Tre'Davious White, 5 total tackles, 4 solo, and that's it. And by the way, I can tell you, they win at Tre'Davious White.
Yeah, see, when D-Hop started getting hot, they had to scheme that. They had to move Big Boy around, and this is why I disagree with the DeShaun Watson thing, because it's one thing if DeShaun Watson just throws dart after dart after dart after dart. Like, that offense wasn't doing anything until they found a way to get DeAndre Hopkins working. And the problem is, if you're Bill O'Brien, okay, you want GM control, you want roster control, you want everything, you want to go buy the groceries and make the meal. Cool. Why are you waiting an entire 30 minutes to figure out how to get DeAndre Hopkins open? Why do you need halftime adjustments in a wild card game at home to get your best player to football? What is this? I feel like DeShaun Watson either needs one of two things. He either needs Bill O'Brien to get an offensive coordinator that knows how to build the offense and make Deshaun Watson the star, or Deshaun Watson just needs the opportunity. He needs the gusto. He needs the bass in his chest to just say, give me the ball and shut up and call the play. Because, see, in the first half, nothing was happening. And if you want to give DeShaun Watson all the credit, you got to give him all the criticism. You can't look at the entirety of what the second half was and say Deshaun Watson found a way to win the game. Josh Allen found a way to lose it. If Deshaun Watson is competitive in the first half, if it's like, they just keep kicking field goals because the Bills' red zone defense is just that good, okay. Because Deshaun Watson is getting the 70 yards needed to at least get them in field goal range, and then his weapons just aren't, making big plays in the red zone. The red zone is when your receivers need to step up. I can understand that. I can concede that. But no, as soon as Josh Allen starts doing laterals at the 50-yard line, that's when the Houston Texans start coming back. It's a strong coincidence, Darnell.
Hey, all I'm saying is you cannot deny that play he made.
Yes, that play. That
is the
one play.
The play of the game. That's the play people are going to remember.
I'm talking. No. They're going to remember Bill O'Brien finally not screwing the pooch at home. It was a great play. That play will be on highlight reels. But see, this is the issue. This is the problem. Deshaun Watson figures out how to win a game because he learned how to evade.
Let me remind the people what I'm talking about. In overtime, Deshaun Watson gets sandwiched by two Bills from each end, doesn't go down, finds his outlet running back, and the running back takes it all the way down for him to kick the game-winning field goal. He literally got hit by two Bills at the same time.
And we're not going to talk about how two Bills had him dead to rights and neither could make the play. It was a great play by Deshaun Watson. Yeah, Deshaun Watson is we're having two Ds on the same team. It was a great play. It was literally the game-winning play because Bill O'Brien, thank God. Oh, because I hate the Texans way less than I hate the Titans, but thank God Bill O'Brien didn't do what he did before and just said, you know what, F it, let's get out of here. Thank God he just kicked the field goal and didn't give them a chance to fumble or throw a pick. But, dude, so many things had to happen. Mind you, in this version of this episode, we haven't mentioned Whitney Merciless yet. He forced a fumble. Ironically, I think that fumble happened in the second half. And when you actually look at the fumble in slow motion, Whitney didn't even punch the ball out. That boy Josh was just scared. He was running scared. He was playing scared.
I'm looking at it. What's Whitney Merciless? I'm trying to... A sack. Oh, it don't show the first fumble in the box score.
Yeah, because if you're going on the Google one, it's lame. It has a lot of stats that doesn't show in the box score.
ESPN, y'all wrong for that. But yeah, look, some of y'all gonna agree it does, and Josh Allen did his best Jameis Winston impression. First half, tremendous. Second half, what the hell are you doing? Some of you gonna agree with me. That boy, Deshaun Watson, boy, when the moment arrives, he rose.
Either way, Texans are going on, and Sean McDermott and the Bills general manager are doing press conferences about how they're going to build the team and, figure it out.
So, Dallas, I'm gonna make this very quick for myself, and you go from there. New England Patriots and Tom Brady have been eliminated by the Tennessee Titans.
If you're a Jaguars fan, first of all, if you're a Jaguars fan and you rooted for the Patriots because they're the lesser of two evils and the Patriots were the ones that eliminated us from the playoffs most recently and whatever other garbage excuse you're giving, because it's not a reason, it's an excuse. You're whack. And there are a lot of other things I'm trying not to say because I want this to clear the FCC guidelines. You're lame. And you've probably only been a fan since 2017. And that's okay. Because there are a lot of people that clicked on the tweets more in 2017. There are a lot of people that, went on Jaguars social media and Jaguars.com. Well, that's all well and good. Nothing wrong with being a fan since 2017. But if you're going to have been a fan because of the 2017 season and now you're trying to figure out what exactly is going on right now, then let me just hip you up on something, okay? This is out of love, not out of anger. We hate the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans are the reason we were 10-6 and not 12-4 getting a bye week. The Tennessee Titans are why last season just completely derailed. Not 2019, 2018. When the season couldn't get any much worse, we were already trying to figure out what the heck was going on and how Blake Bortles could have fell out the floor that badly. The Tennessee Titans were the ones that let Derrick Henry loose. We were the team that Derrick Henry became a star off of. We hate the Titans. The Titans are the ones that signed Ryan Tannehill for a backup QB deal and still let Marcus Mariota open up the season. And we're the ones that bid against ourselves to get Nick Foles, who the Philadelphia Eagles didn't even want over Carson Wentz, who still can't be healthy for an entire season technically. They didn't want him. They wanted Carson. They wanted the injury-prone guy, even though Nick Foles is the one that won the only Super Bowl in franchise history. We paid him $8 million. Who's the one that gets hurt? Who's the one that has to come in? Nick Foles gets hurt. The season's basically done because we have a 6th-round rookie that Tom Coughlin didn't want. Force Nick Foles back in, everything's done. The Tennessee Titans, what do? Oh, they're 2-4. Marcus Mariota ain't doing too hot. They put in cheap-ass Ryan Tannehill. And where are they now? In the AFC Divisional Round. We hate the Titans. There is no scenario when the Titans can have success and happiness, and we do not root against the Titans. This is not the SEC. We do not root for division rivals for the pride of the AFC. The AFC South is the worst division in the history of the NFL. Only one franchise has won a Super Bowl in the division's history, and it took Peyton Manning over a decade to get one. What is wrong with you people?
How long you been holding that in?
Well, I've been saying it on Twitter and Facebook for the past week, but every time I get a chance, I say it.
Oh my goodness. Unlike Dallas, most of you Jaguar fans, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you a cool Dallas is different. He can take it. Derrick Henry, 34 carries, 182 yards and a touchdown.
Darnell, we drafted a running back with the 4th overall pick. That was supposed to be us.
What kind of defense the Patriots had this season?
Historic, trend-setting, on pace to do things that had never been done before.
34, 182, 1 tud.
That was supposed to be us.
That's one player against the New England Patriots defense and Bill Belichick.
You know what? Tell me how much Ryan Tannehill had. I'm about to look up something real quick. I'm sick.
8 for 15, 72 yards, 1 touchdown and a pick. Oh, this was not about Ryan Tannehill. This is definitely about Derrick Henry.
In the AFC Championship game, Darnell, this is why I'm sick. In the AFC Championship game for the 2017 season, which means it technically happened in 2018, Blake Bortles went 23 for 36 for 293 yards, a touchdown, no picks. Leonard Fournette went 24 for 76. You had a balanced offense and contribution. Darnell, I'm sick.
So on that note, we're going to take our second commercial break here. We're going to let Dazzle regroup because we're not done talking NFL playoffs on this one here. So we'll be right back.
Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? It's a long process. It's a hard, thought-out process. Yeah, I know. I was there. From March of this year, thinking about how I'm going to do this, doing all my research, trying to get everything right. What platforms can we use and how we going to record it and how we going to make it sound good and make it all this happen. And then I came upon Anchor. The Anchor app on my phone, the easiest choice I could ever make to do a podcast. It's free to use. You don't got to pay for nothing. You can record episodes whenever you're ready. You can edit it and then you can release them when you want to. And you don't have to worry about trying to figure out how you're going to distribute it on other platforms because Anchor has partnerships with Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Castbox, Pocket Cast, whatever you name it. Because the Playmakers Ball podcast is the podcast that I use. We're on all them platforms. We're on 9 platforms just by using the Anchor app. So pretty much all the questions that you have questions about doing a podcast, go to the Anchor app or go to the Anchor website, anchor.fm.com, and just search through it, ask questions. Because I tell you, a free app that does all this, there's nothing more you can ask for. I even got friends, they doing their podcast on the Anchor app. Faith Talk, you might have heard of it because it's very good. And it's great that it's an app like this, it's a website like this that makes it easier for people to do podcasts and do what they love best, talking about the things that they love to talk about. So give Anchor a try, see how much you like it. We'll love to hear your podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. You good, Dallas?
No, but I'll be okay.
You're good. Okay, so now we got the reviews out the way for the Wildcard Weekend. We got the coaches out the way. Now it's time to get to the heart of the matter, Dallas. It's Divisional Weekend, sir. And unlike what they did in Wildcard Weekend, they mixed it up this time. So, going in order, Saturday, kicking off the Divisional Round comes from the NFC, where the same Minnesota Vikings team that went into New Orleans and beat New Orleans are going to Santa Clara to take on the top seed 49ers of San Francisco. Dallas, I see a defensive battle going on in this one.
Yeah, I do too. I also see a battle of depth and attrition. You never want what happened to the Eagles to happen. All I'm saying is a huge if. I'm hoping it's a very low percentage if. But, dude, if Adam Thielen or Dalvin Cook gets nicked up or just has a bad day, it's going to be a long day for the Vikings. The 49ers come at you in waves. The running backs, they have 4 of them. Defensive linemen, they have 8 of them. And the basis of the offense and the defense are the running backs and the D-lines. Darnell, I've never seen a team in the NFL, because everybody in the NFL is supposed to know that injuries happen. I've never seen a team in the NFL that has so much depth at what their strengths are supposed to be. Usually they pay one player, and that player is just supposed to carry the entire unit. No, they got tons of running backs. They got tons of defensive linemen.
So, let's see. Kirk Cousins versus Jimmy G.
Notice
Dalvin
I said
Cook.
both teams was the running backs. I ain't saying nothing but the quarterback.
Dalvin Cook versus a slew of running backs from San Francisco.
And a fullback.
Kyle Rudolph versus George Kittle.
That's actually not even much of a matchup, unfortunately.
And the greatest, and probably one of the things that the older football folks gonna look at, Mike Zimmer versus Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah. If you're really a true blue 49ers or Vikings fan, it's not like the wide receiver matchup is boring.
Stephon Diggs, Allen Thielen against Deebo Samuel, Emmanuel Sanders. I went 2-2. Hold on, did we both go 2-2? Yeah, I think we picked I think we all picked the same teams.
I picked Buffalo.
No, you picked Buffalo, and I picked Houston. So, either way, not a terrific start for both of us, but Dallas, you was right that I probably should take, not wanting certain teams to win and stuff like that, but like I said, we had our shots and we didn't do what we needed to do, and as a guy who's doing podcasting and working on journalism and stuff like that, I gotta pick San Francisco.
Yeah, it's San Francisco, simply because, say what you will, Dalvin Cook was held under 100 yards, and guess what happened? I know they had to go to overtime. There's film out. There is playoff film out. And I would imagine that the 49ers have the personnel to mimic the game plan. Now, they run different systems and everything, but, they're going to figure out, or at least bite off of what New Orleans did. And if they stop Dalvin Cook and corral him and control him, we'll see Kirk Cousins, has a one-track mind. Stephon Diggs, if he has an outburst like that again on the road, it's probably not going to go well. So I don't see how you don't pick San Francisco.
We'll be watching Jimmy G making his first playoff appearance.
Yeah, man, that's a weird stat once you think about it.
What happens if the ball's in the hands of Jimmy G and that Vikings defense?
Jimmy G versus the Vikings defense. Let's see. I would imagine that with the West Coast concepts, the fullback that's so versatile, because see, Jimmy G doesn't have to do too much. It's not as if Emmanuel Sanders and Deebo Samuel are the best players on the offense. Best players on the offense actually in the backfield. I'm thinking Kyle Juszczyk. We're going to go with Juszczyk. Kyle Juszczyk at fullback is going to help a lot on those 3rd and 3 play action plays, those rollouts, just those dump offs. And Telvin Coleman's pretty good too. Like all the halfbacks are good. So I'm thinking he'll actually be okay. Because when you
I'm surprised you ain't mentioned George Kittle.
Well, let's be honest. I mean, the front 7 of the Vikings is the best part of the unit. George Kittle, between just chips in the run game and the linebackers keying in on him, do you really force the ball to George Kittle? Do you really okay, Darnell, you tell me. Just receiving, pure receiving, who's the best receiver on the 49ers offense?
Best receiver. I'll give that to Emmanuel Sanders.
I'd give it to George Kittle. Because George Kittle can be a deep threat down the seam. He can be the possession guy. He can be the route runner. Emmanuel Sanders, I know him as a deep threat, but George Kittle does almost everything as a receiver, and he's a blocker. And on top of that, you don't have to dedicate your number 1 corner on him. You don't have to mess up your alignments. With Emmanuel Sanders, as long as it's not Xavier Rhodes, God, sign somebody off the street before you put Emmanuel Sanders on Xavier Rhodes. But, I mean, if it's not Xavier Rhodes, or if at least Xavier Rhodes has safety help, tons of safety help, dual safety help, then Emmanuel Sanders, I'm not scheming for him first. I'm scheming for George Kittle, and I'm scheming for the run game. If Emmanuel Sanders has 12 for 200, I still probably won.
I won't be mad if Minnesota pulled this off, though. I'm going to be honest.
As you should be. I'll say this. I wouldn't be mad, but I will be surprised. I will go out and say that I will honestly be surprised, because even if Minnesota is able to shut down Kittle, even if they're able to hold the 49ers under 115 total yards rushing, Kirk Cousins is still going to have to make some plays on his own. He's still going to have to not take sacks. He's still going to have to get the ball out before the sack hits. He's still going to have to throw against Richard Sherman. He's going to have to figure out a way to do something he hasn't been able to do, and that's get Kyle Rudolph and Stephon Diggs involved for all 4 quarters. So I will be surprised. I will be surprised. Won't be mad, but I will be surprised.
All right, and then on the late night, because it's all about the 1 seeds on Saturday. Those Tennessee Titans, that Dallas, that's hate so freaking much. They take the crib to the big crab cake, as the good man of Chris Boone would say, and take on that bad man who was going to be the MVP, Lamar Jackson, Mark Ingram, and the Baltimore Ravens. By the way, the 49ers are getting a touchdown spot. Dallas and the Ravens are getting a touchdown in the field goal spot.
Interesting. Somebody on local radio here in Pensacola, they opened up by saying they were a Titans fan, but I think there was a little bit of bias, but I'm just going to be fair because I'm definitely biased myself. I think that what some people are misinterpreting and misunderstanding is forcing Lamar Jackson to throw the ball. That narrative. Usually when you have a team that rushed for the most yards in a single season, you assume that's because they didn't want to run the ball. You assume it's because their quarterback was a liability and they were basically trying to keep him as protected as possible. That's not the case. Just because Lamar Jackson didn't throw a lot does not mean that he wasn't very effective as a passer. If you're telling me that after this season where he led the NFL in touchdown passes, if you're telling me that against the Tennessee Titans, it's going to be Lamar Jackson versus Ryan Tannehill, in a battle of arms and wits, I'm picking Lamar Jackson. You take away their running. Say they play spy the whole time. Say they play contain the whole time. Say they play dime and just put D-backs on the edge. Not even in coverage, just on the edge to keep him from running. Lamar Jackson, if you give Lamar Jackson 35 attempts, he's going to hit on at least 21 of them. Ryan Tannehill, even though it wasn't the game plan, brother threw for 72 yards. I mean, I'm picking the Ravens, obviously, but it's this weird narrative that last postseason and what the Chargers did and what's gonna work this year when Lamar Jackson led the league in touchdown passes. That's confusing me, Darn.
Boy, they got tight ends. And
the problem with them having so many tight ends is tight ends block. Tight ends, they're supposed to get a body on a body at the very least. Wide receivers, they Olay blocks, weak cut blocks, just put a hand on the cornerback on the other side of the field and just watch what's happening. No, tight ends block.
Just getting away, pretty much.
Yeah, and that's okay, Darnell. That's okay. They're 190. Ain't supposed to do much. But we talk about like 240 boys. When you talking about guys like Hayden Hurst who are looking like a bust right now and gotta do the dirty work to get some playing time, nah, it's a different game. And the Titans defense is what didn't come out that Patriots game 100% healthy, by the way.
So yeah, I'm going Baltimore. They're the 1 seed. They set the rushing record. In doing so, Lamar Jackson still threw for 3,000 yards. That's the Buffalo.
Now the question is, because as a Jaguars fan, I want them to lose by 50. However, I will say, 10-point spread from Vegas, that's actually kind of, that's hard if you got a mortgage to pay next month.
That sounds like you ain't taking that bet. Even though you pick Baltimore.
Nah, see, I hate them. I hate them with all my heart and soul. But if we're talking about my money, that's different. I say Baltimore wins by like 6.
Baltimore by 6.
That boy Brett Kern a bad man. That boy Brett Kern about to eat some clock. And even if you are the deadliest rushing offense in a single season in NFL history, it usually is Derrick Henry different. It usually takes you a long time to run the ball down the field.
Oh yeah, behind the scenes y'all didn't know, but that Tennessee punter made Dallas list.
Well, that Tennessee punter, just that's another thing where if you're a Jaguars fan, I'm trying to figure out what the hell is wrong with you because aren't we the team that drafted a punter before Russell Wilson got drafted? You mean to tell me that the way the Tennessee Titans won? We got some bills here.
Oh boy. Sunday, 3:05 p.m. Going all the way to the Missouri State up in Kansas City, where the Houston Texans, led by DeShaun Watson, they get a round 2 matchup with Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs.
Here's the tricky part.
And that's a 10 spot for Kansas City.
Yeah, here's the tricky part. Now, you mean to tell me that Baltimore is a double-digit favorite against a team that runs the ball just as much as them, but the Chiefs are supposed to blow the frame off? No, and let's be honest, Darnell. When Vegas says it's double digits, it's going to be bad. It's not going to be competitive. So you're saying that both teams who have quarterbacks and they like to throw the ball, Kansas City's a double-digit favorite. Both teams that like to run the ball, Baltimore's a double-digit favorite. Well, I would expect Kansas City to blow the frame off of Houston because they throw the ball better. You score quicker when you throw the ball, and you punt quicker when you throw the ball. Like, I just want to know what Vegas is seeing because I feel like I see it too as a Jaguars fan, but I just want to know what they see because this is people's money, people's mortgages and rent.
People know the difference. As a Jaguars fan, he sees this, but as an analyst, he's trying to figure it out.
Because it's Tyrann Mathieu, excellent addition. Frank Clark, excellent addition. J.J. Watt, another week to get healthy. Whitney Merciless, X Factor. I got two people on both defenses and think to myself, these are bad defense, but I see two boys that make a lot better. Offense, DeShaun Watson, MVP caliber player, MVP candidate first half of the season. Patrick Mahomes, defending MVP. Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Hopkins, Sammy Watkins, shudders. Kenny Still. Then you got Will Fuller. If he's ever going to get healthy. Then you got Travis Kelce. But, when you look at it, it's like, let's see what's the over-under. You got the over-under?
51.
Still win by 10, and the over-under is 51. This weekend, guys. I picked the straights, both tight. Get some extra gas money. Hit Kansas City straight. That's what I'm doing, but I ain't taking all these spreads. Because I think it's going to be well. I think it's going to be like at least 30-something.
Patrick Mahomes, as Dallas said, defending MVP, reigning MVP. The cheetah, Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, Miko Hardman, can't forget him and what he has done. Damon Williams, LaShawn McCoy, the other Williams, can't think of his name right now. Carlos Hyde for Houston, Duke Johnson. See, Will Fuller going to be healthy. Kenny Stills, DeAndre Hopkins, and of course DeShaun Watson. My heart really wants Houston. I'm a DeShaun Watson fan. I'm gonna bring a little college into this, Dallas.
Okay.
You know how on college game day, and they go to certain sites, and it's like, coach got to pick between his heart and his head.
Mm-hmm.
I will never forget. They was in, I think it was at Florida State, for the Florida and Florida State game, and he said this line: "This is strictly business," and he put on a Gator headgear.
Oh my!
This is strictly business. I gotta pick the Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. I gotta do it. Patrick Mahomes knows what it feels like to get to that AFC Championship game and do everything you can and have to watch Tom Brady just march down the field, and you just sit down like they finna end this game and I can't even get back on the field. That's the last time we seen Patrick Mahomes in a playoff game. Matter of fact, it might be DeShaun Watson turn to sit down and watch Patrick Mahomes go down the field and it's like, yep, there ain't nothing I can do. Can't is it? And then the final one was probably be the best one of all. Guess what, Dallas? We're going to Lambeau Field, the frozen tundra.
Right now, land of receiving backs.
We have Marshawn Lynch, Aaron Jones, Tyler Lockett, Devontae Adams. But that's not the best part. Aaron Rodgers, the last of the OGs. Russell Wilson. The A-Rods got a fourth spot.
Russell Wilson's in that midst. Russell Wilson's like Brett Favre, where it's like, you don't even realize he's been around for Russell Wilson's been around since 2013 and has a Super Bowl. Played in another. Been to the playoffs in seasons he was not supposed to be there. It's weird to think like Russell Wilson ain't OG. He's like the game. The game is like, you don't look at game as an OG, but then you turn around and you think about like, oh wait, he might be an OG. At least the NC State fans, but
he getting there. He getting there. 31 years old. He getting there. He no OG yet.
So like, is Matt Stafford an OG? Or is he just that guy that just be around corner to corner?
When it comes to football and you being OG, that means you done some things.
Oh,
and
yeah,
he
got a Russell Wilson. The thing that Russell Wilson did on his rookie contract had everybody screaming. Everybody, even political conservatives screaming. That boy is underpaid. What Russell Wilson did on his rookie contract alone then makes him an OG. That's how great it is. Because Matt Stafford is that one dude by the corner store that be talking that noise.
See, the OG class for me consists of Aaron Rodgers, Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, Drew Brees. As of right now, yeah, that's it for right now.
See, that's the thing, because you included Drew Brees in there. And at first, I was like, okay, because you include Drew Brees, but now I'm like, wait a minute. We can't put Ben Roethlisberger and Tom Brady in the same class as Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers, because we're about multiple Super Bowl champions. And we're talking about Ben Roethlisberger's like played in 3. Like, even though Ben Roethlisberger wasn't the reason why they won that Super Bowl in 2005, he's a Steeler. He's going to go down as one of the best, if not the best Steeler quarterback. And Tom Brady's Tom Brady. Drew Brees, I can see an argument, but whatever argument you make for Drew Brees, you're basically making an argument against Aaron Rodgers.
No, Aaron Rodgers is in the class.
No. Tell me why Drew Brees is in the class.
Yeah, they have a passing record.
Okay. And even though he's the greatest thrower of the football, what passing records does Aaron Rodgers have? How many numbers does he have that are better than Brett's? Green Bay Packers are the Green Bay Packers, period.
The Green Bay Packers.
To have that kind of day again. And you're on the third string running back that was actually there. Marshawn Lynch and Robert Turbin, make no mistake, these are nostalgia signings. These are off the street body count signings. These are just in case Holman or Horman, whatever his name is, gets hurt. This is a passing offense. Now, this is a passing offense that needs the run game to get going. And I don't think the run game is going to get going. So I'm picking the Packers for that reason. But not necessarily because I don't think Russell can get it done. Shoot, it's probably going to be a shootout. We're all wondering how the hell did Russell do that for 60 minutes.
We're going to our home team for the divisional round.
As it should be, technically, when you really think about it.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, we all picking the same teams. We all picking the home teams to win this in the divisional weekend. So enjoy your football weekend. You got football on Saturday. You got football on Sunday. And then we're going to get you ready for football on Friday when we talk the college football podcast, because there's only one game left. That's the national championship. So that's Dallas Gunn over there. I'm down there to make a silence. We all signing off until the college football podcast. Until next time.